Okay, guys. Well, we have now, gentlemen, I had no idea, was coming in to talk about the state of the weather. Okay? Now, tell me, among others, which area of the weather you represent.
Well, Kelvin, we represent the rational and balanced point of it. I mean, you'd know as a tabloider, every single summer, there's a story about this being the hottest summer ever.
Phew, what a scorcher.
Well, it makes very, very good headlines, but look, aside from that, it's fine. We're all still in suits. We go to work. We don't get the day off school or whatever. And the country continues to run. If we start giving people a pass to not come in when there's a bit of sun in the sky, where are we going as a country?
Right, look, I buy this, okay? I buy this. I have a relative who works at a primary school in the Norwich area, and she was saying to me, showed me a picture of the temperature, and she said it's literally nightmarish. By the way, this is a very tough lady. She wouldn't normally complain. Mm-hmm. Isn't the reality of it that we need to get air conditioning in anyway, right? Regardless of the arguments, and I agree, you and I are here, but this is a nice, cool studio. I mean,
yeah,
I came on a train, right? And to be honest with you, I could literally have baked an egg on the place. So there is an argument that something is going on. Is there something going on, or do you not even accept that?
No. There's absolutely something's going on.
Okay, there was something going on, and therefore, my wife, building a house, had the choice of whether to put air conditioning in. It was going to cost 15,000 quid. I said, don't bother, right? Is the answer. She should have bothered.
I bet you're regretting it now.
Yeah. I am regretting it, but I've been a fool on many, many times. We don't know each other. I've done many things that have been wrong, and that was another one. But I agree with you about going to work. And honestly, Waterloo Station today was really busy again. It wasn't so busy yesterday. What on earth can we do about going to work? Do you think we've just simply got to suck it up? Have the bosses got to say, you've got to turn up? Should we have a maximum temperature at which people can work? Or is that actually something that can be left to the individual to decide, look, it is honestly too hot for me, I'm going to work at home or something? Well, is it possible to work at home? Actually, in my house, it felt even hotter than it did in an office.
Yeah, I mean, Britain's in a very kind of unique set of circumstances where our houses are built to keep the heat in.
Yeah, true.
And you get the heat coming through the window. We're all in brick buildings, and it builds up, and it's pretty insufferable. But on top of that, and you'll like this, Kelvin, Britain's net zero policy is making it even harder to install air conditioning. So they all say it's getting hotter. But
why is it getting more difficult?
Well, a headline came out in the Telegraph this week that planning officers are actually ripping out AC units in boroughs of London because they say that the tenant doesn't need it. They essentially knock on people's doors and they say, have you tried opening a window, mate? You haven't made the reasonable adjustments to cool your house. You don't deserve an air conditioner. And this is because our grid can't take it.
Let's get this right. So there is I say I've got a flat. Is that it's a council block? Is it? Mm-hmm. Okay. I get a knock on the door, and they say we're taking the air conditioning unit out. But why? Why are they taking it out?
Well, there's been instances where it's simply been seen as too wasteful, and this goes back to Sadiq Khan's Clean London policy. I think he implemented in 2021, where he essentially said, overusage of electricity or energy in general.
I see what you mean.
Is too wasteful, and no, we can't be cool because we haven't opened enough windows, and it is ludicrous, quite frankly. I am lost for words when even discussing this, but if you don't need it, they can question it. So you've got to live in discomfort while less than 5% of the buildings in Britain have AC.
So you come into a studio, I don't know you, right? You make reasonable arguments. So are you politically motivated? Would you like Khan to go? Would you like net zero to go? Would you like everything to go?
Yes.
Oh, you would?
Yes. Well, I think we need to work towards a system of energy abundance where energy is nice and cheap. When energy is cheap, it means we can cultivate more carbon-friendly technologies, society can progress. I mean, look at the great strides forward the Industrial Revolution made, and that was all done with dirty fossil fuels. But prosperity went up, living standards went up, and people had a better quality of life.
So you agree with Trump? I don't know, Pooch.
Yeah.
Have you got that Trump clip in which he was talking about the madness of us importing oil from Norway, which gets the oil out of the North Sea, whereas we won't take oil out of the North Sea, which we are allowed to do?
Absolutely.
Let's have a play.
Let's have a look at
the new guy's coming in, Andy Burnham. What do you know about him, Mr. President, and what does he need to do to improve the relationship between our two countries? The new incoming Prime Minister, Andy Burnham.
I don't know anything. I see that he was, I guess, the mayor of a town. I hear he's extremely liberal. Extremely. So that means he probably won't open up the North Sea. You know, I gave Keir Starmer some pretty good advice. I said, open up the North Sea. Go to Aberdeen, which was the hottest city in the whole continent. It was the oil city. It was the oil of Europe. And they closed everything. It was terrible. I saw it before my eyes, and I couldn't believe it. The North Sea is loaded. I have had every oil company come to see me. Sir, could you give us access to the UK? We would do anything to drill in the North Sea. And they haven't even found what's there. The amazing thing is they buy their oil from Norway, which gets the oil from the North Sea. Think of it. And they pay a big premium. Norway's got now $2 trillion in the bank, and UK is dying. So they should open up the North Sea. That's an easy one. And a lot of good things are going to happen.
So you know, you can love him or hate him, Trump, but that is a pretty good point. That we're getting our oil from Norway, they're getting it out of the North Sea, and we're now not allowed to have oil out in the North Sea because of this nutbalm who's in energy, who somebody was suggesting would make a good chancellor. Actually, based on his previous policy administrations, he would be a nightmare for our country. So why would they promote a nutbalm like Miliband when the reality is, I mean, and not only that, Norway are doing well in the World Cup as well. So it's a double blow. What if you had the right? I want you to say to our viewers, what are the two things we should do to give ourselves some energy independence and actually cost ourselves less money?
Well, you're absolutely right to point out this is exactly the same bit of land that Norway is developing. They're filling the shortfall in gas, obviously. And look, Ed Miliband's banned it. But developing the North Sea for oil and gas is crucial to our survival. For a long, long time to come, we're going to have oil and gas.
We are.
And there's no two ways about it. Ed Miliband can dream this remote dream of a carbon neutral future, but it's simply unworkable. And it means going backwards in terms of our living standards. And on top of that, we need to take the green taxes and subsidies away from the energy market. They are so distortionary towards prices. And people come to me and they say, oh, wind power, solar panels, they're so cheap. And yes, the marginal cost of it is cheap because there's no commodity involved. You get it from the sun, you get it from the wind. But eventually the wind stops blowing, the sun stops shining, and well, you're up the creek without a paddle if you don't have the firm power necessary to power the grid, and that is gas. We nearly ran out of electricity yesterday. We had to go to France with a begging bowl saying, can we please have more electricity?
Is that true? But hold on a second, France itself must have been using buckets of the stuff. They had higher temperatures than we did, and actually across a broader area. And supposing they turned around and said, actually, do you know what? We've never liked you, actually. We're not going to give you any more electricity. What would have happened then? How much of the country would be short? How many power outages would there have been?
Well, I mean,
what percentage of the country would have had to go without electricity if France didn't hand us electricity?
I don't know. We got 2.2 gigawatts from France, and look, we could have seen full-scale grid failure with that amount of electricity. So we are essentially reliant on Europe. I mean, we're 10 years down the line from Brexit. We're reliant on Europe to keep the lights on. It's terrifying, really.
That is terrifying. Terrifying. especially if France decided that they weren't going to give it to us because they needed it themselves. Because I saw that Paris was up at about 43 degrees. I saw that their prime minister said we've got to face the certainty that we are a hot country now. So they are going to need more electricity, not less. And we, with our begging bowl, they just turn around and say no. I mean, I hate that. I didn't realise that. Huh?
Yeah. Well,
and where did you read that? I look across the news sites and everything. Is that kosher? That without France, our grid would have failed?
Yeah, I mean, the National Energy System operator, NESO, actually said we could come very close today. And the people in the energy department had to call up France and say, look, I know there's typically a cap on how much electricity we can import from you, but we're going to need to go above that. And France is actually quite gifted in nuclear. They've invested very heavily in nuclear power, which they can export to Europe. But no, we would have had a shortfall if it wasn't for them.
Supposing they get the answer, I said, "Oh, hello, sorry, buddy, it's Ed Miliband here. We're a bit short of electricity because of the heat. You know all about that. I wonder whether you could just send us 2.2 gigawatts." And he said, "I am so sorry, we cannot help you. You are up shit creek. We have our own problems. By the way, why didn't you build more nuclear?" Or whatever. Are you in favour of nuclear?
Oh, massively so, massively. Well, it's carbon neutral and it's what these people want. And yet you've got someone like Ed Miliband who's so sceptical.
Why haven't we built enough nuclear reactors then?
We've got a ridiculous planning process, Kelvin. I mean, guess what the most expensive construction project in the world was?
Well, if it wasn't HS2, it would probably be
your wife's house.
It could be my wife's house.
It was. That's it. It's just escalated.
That
and
is true.
Spiraled, isn't it?
Well be.
Well, it's actually the Grand Mosque in Mecca.
Oh, is it?
Number 2 is Hinkley Point C, and it's approaching something like £50 billion in Somerset.
Yeah.
£50 billion spent on this big nuclear reactor.
And why is that?
Well, we spent $700 million on essentially this unelected quango called Natural England.
Are they the ones that said we must save the bullfrog and we must save the rat
yes.
and all that?
Well, in this case, it's the fish, and there's a worry that a few fish might get sucked up. Yeah. So they've constructed this £700 million fish capture and redeployment system with a light rigging as well that they affectionately refer to as the fish disco. £700 million of taxpayers' money has gone on
that doesn't account for 50 billion, though, does it?
They say it's not enough as well.
I'd shut it down tomorrow. I actually do not care about the survival of the bullfrog. I don't care about the survival of the dormouse. I'm absolutely not only I'm not neutral on this issue, I'm actually positively hostile to the dormouse, right? The dormouse can get stuffed. I just want to build houses. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't care. So why is it that, right, so we take that 700 million in that lake, but what about the other, 49.3 billion? What about that?
Well, you should have a look at the planning documents. Every girder needs a planning document of 500 pages to be sent off to the regulator.
Right.
And of course, you're paying a whole lot of consultants to do that, and that's running into the billions.
So the game to get into is either the Dormouse Protection Association, the DPA as we now call it, and or being a consultant acting either on behalf of the dormouse or on behalf of girders. Is that the business we should all be in?
I mean, we're messing with national security here. There's no rich, low-energy countries. We need the capacity, and that's not going to happen if we build a whole load of offshore wind when the wind only blows a couple of times a day.
Okay, so offshore wind, cheap, up until the point it stops blowing. Is it still cheaper, even when it stops blowing and we suck in gas to take the position? Do you see what I mean? Well, is it a cheap form of energy, actually, or a cheaper form than, for instance, having to take it out of the North Sea?
Well, I would say no. Because you factor in the total system cost, and you've got to tie it into the grid. You've got to factor in the energy imports when it's not happening, and the backup capacity as well.
Yes, you've got to have the backup, haven't you?
These gas generators can charge extortionate prices because ultimately the grid needs it, and maybe they're only firing up a generator 2 or 3 times a day, but they can say, oh, thank you very much, we'll take £500 a megawatt hour for that.
Okay.
Kelvin, question from the gallery, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Ted, I'm fascinated that you are into this, and you're obviously a very young man, but very well spoken, and you know your subject. How and why did you get into this, and what's your day job if this is not your day job?
Well, this is my day job. I work for the Global Warming Policy Foundation.
Okay.
We deal with energy policy, we deal with climate policy, and we try and provide a kind of rational aspect to the debate, because you can get wrapped up in these Met Office red warnings. It's almost like sirens going off in the newspapers and on the BBC, and we try to moderate that. Like, yes, it is hot, but that means we need to build more air conditioning. It doesn't mean that we should go for net zero, which isn't going to make Britain any colder.
Right. So we're having a chat in 10 years' time, right? I'm now talking to you beyond the grave, but you are now only 17 yourself, right? So in 10 years' time, what is it going to be like? Are we going to be hotter, and will our electricity bills or energy bills still be higher, or will we still be having these debates?
Well, I think there is cause for optimism, because we've broken the cross-party consensus on net zero, which is incredibly harmful towards our way of life. You look at the recent carbon budget that was voted through by the Labour government, and they say all of the low-hanging fruit has now been picked, and they're starting to talk about legislating for lifestyle changes and diet changes. There's actually shrinking beef herds in Britain because they say they're too polluting, and they say we need to eat less red meat.
That's through methane, is it?
That's through methane, yes. But they say we need to change to a vegetarian
on that
diet.
basis, pooch won't be allowed to exist much longer, will he?
A bit harsh, Kelvin, bit harsh. That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Well, actually, I was going to say Mike Graham, but he wasn't around. Right, Ted, thank you very much indeed. Very nice to meet you. And perhaps you come back again to explain how we can set up the Anti-Dormouse Association, the ADA, rather than DPA. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very